But what people like to talk about a lot is, can we communicate with life? Is there an alien out there watching us? Is there an Area 51 where potentially there are spacecraft being engineered by alien technology? Is Chad, in fact, an alien? Well, see, these are important. Now, we are now going to move on to the idea of, could there be life elsewhere in the solar system, in the universe? Could they be intelligent? This is a little bit harder. And so, how many of you guys have heard, raise your hand if you heard of SETI? It's a search for extraterrestrial intelligence. And that's what we're going to look at for the rest of this part here. So, how do we talk to these guys? Well, we use science. See, communication, cell phone, all that is through what we call radio waves or microwaves. Cell phones usually use microwaves, which are a little bit more energetic than radio waves. But radio waves travel through space a lot better than microwaves do. And so just like any radio transmission we would send out to, your car or your house or whatever, we do the same thing with extraterrestrials. Maybe extraterrestrials have sent us a message, and those radio waves are traveling through space as we know it, and we can listen to those radio signals with big radar dishes, basically. And this is the Arecibo radio telescope in Puerto Rico, and it's about the size of a football field, just to give you an idea. And this thing literally listens to radio waves coming from space. And maybe, just maybe, one of those radio signals that Arecibo hears could potentially be a hello or some really bad television program in an alien world. Most likely that. And just to give you an idea, if an alien were to pick up our first radio transmissions, they're going to hear something from Adolf Hitler. I'm just saying. Probably not the best welcoming to, planet Earth kind of thing, but, that was the first radio transmission to be sent and actually propagate out into space. So, let's hope that, the aliens kind of do some Galaxy Quest thing and completely, don't even pay attention to what the message is and just kind of make their own thing out of it. But interesting thing. But our radio signals go out all the time. So, eventually they may get the Miley Cyrus video at some time in the future. That would be interesting. A lot of twerking going on in space. So, as we can see here, this is how we listen. But we're only listening. We're not sending anything out at the moment. SETI does not send out messages anymore. It's only listening. So, constantly it's getting transmissions from space all the time. So far, we haven't found anything. There was a time when we actually possibly got something. By the way, this is the Very Large Array in New Mexico. This is another radio telescope that listens out into space. There's plenty of other radio telescopes that listen out in space, but these are the two good big ones. And then this was that one time that we thought maybe we actually got something from something in space. For example, this guy literally, this is why it's called the wow signal, because the guy highlighted and basically wrote wow. It's just what he did. He's like, wow. So what's the big deal about this? You look at this picture and you're like, all I see is ones and zeros and a couple of letters. Well, remember, we digitize everything. Taking the signals and we digitize them in zeros and ones. 0 is a, no signal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 depends on how strong the signal is. Well, when you get to the point where you're starting to use letters, that's not natural. Those are signals that are not natural. Those are man-made frequencies or artificial frequencies. Well, all of a sudden, you pick up and you're hearing, oh, that could be hydrogen, that could be hydrogen, that may be, that 7 maybe be a little different, that 4 might be helium, And all of a sudden you get 6 EQUJ5, things start to feel kind of strange. That tells you that maybe there's something artificial coming out in the signal. Turned out it was an airplane. That because the machine was thought to be positioned in one part of the sky, but it turned out it was actually faced to another direction. So it actually caught a signal from an aircraft. By the way, these radio telescopes, you can't have any radio, radio frequencies really nearby. You can't even use your cell phone. That's why you don't see a lot of radio astronomers Facebooking and Twittering, because you can't use radio. So I was at a radio telescope a couple of years ago, and literally when you get to the gate, They're like, turn off your cell phones, all that stuff, because any interference that may come around, well, guess what? That could potentially be an alien signal that, well, we thought it was an alien signal, but it's not. It's just like this one here. So this was a possibly could have been amazing, but guess what? Just didn't pan out. Now, you can actually listen to these radio waves coming from space. And here's the thing. There's only so many astronomers out there that are able to really look at this stuff and go, hey, that could be an alien. There's so much data. It's ridiculous how much there is of this stuff. And there's only so many people that can actually look through the data. So this is where you guys come in. This is where the general public can come in to do something called citizen science, working with scientists and helping them out discover things. And this is one of them. SETI at home, they actually now have a SETI Facebook, or not, it's a SETI iPhone app. They have a SETI Android app. And basically, you can take your cell phone, your tablet, your laptop, your desktop, whatever, and when it's not doing any work and it's idling, it will actually take that, that processing power and memory and actually listen to the data that's coming from SETI. And maybe you might be the one that picks up a message from an alien race. Maybe. So that allows people like us astronomers to take that data and move it over here and not have to spend all that time looking it through ourselves, because we only have so many people that can do that. And now we can use you guys to help sort all this stuff out. And there might be potentially a chance you might actually get a signal. So who knows? Maybe in here, there may be a potential chance of possibly getting an alien signal. So the truth is out there. I know, it's cliche, but it works. In reality, the only way for us to know for sure whether there's life out there is we continue to do science. We continue to go out, send spacecraft, listen with our radio telescopes, go out there, explore, touch, taste, smell, etc., all the things we do in science. And so we need the future generations to go out there to continue to explore what we consider the final frontier. And so it's with everybody's help. It's with places like libraries, with science centers, with planetariums. We do our job to educate people and to let them know that, the only way for us to look for sure whether there's life is to continue exploring. The people ask, why have we heard anything from aliens already? They've been sending out signals. Well, first off, there's a lot of things to it. Again, there's over 200 billion stars in our galaxy. A lot of those stars are on the opposite end of our galaxy. And in between that star and our center of a galaxy is a bunch of dust. And a lot of those transmissions get weak, or they get absorbed by the dust in our galaxy. Some of it gets skewed, some of it gets bounced. Another thing is, if you send a radio signal this way and we're over here, we're never going to get that signal. So just the statistics or the chances of us getting a signal from something are just very, 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 very slim. But another thing is that if you only have maybe 10 or so civilizations that have advanced themselves to send out radio signals, well, 10 out of 100 billion stars or trillions of planets, that's a very small percentage, and the distances too. For example, if a society that lived about 100 light years away sent a signal out today, we wouldn't get that signal for another 100 years or so. And that's just one way. We got the signal. If we send it back to them, we'd have to wait a whole another 100 years just to get that signal back. And here's another thing. We've only had radio technology for what, the past, 70 years, 70 to 100 years, 100 with the military, right? Well, that's a very small amount of time. We've only been listening for just a small period of time in human history. So who knows? Maybe there was a signal that came a long time ago and we just never picked it up. So there's just so many factors that, I hate to say it though, but the chances are maybe slim that we would ever hear from another life form. But the chances are still out there. The truth is still out there. And I think we have a greater chance of finding life that's not so advanced, like intelligent life, like microbial life or whatnot, even in our own solar system. And I think, why do we spend so much time looking for life? Because it shows us that, is life something that's just unique to our planet, or is life more diverse than we think? out there in the solar system. And plus, it's just cool. Be like, oh, we discovered life. What are you going to do about it? So with that, take some time. Just think about it. That's what we need to do. And, the truth really is out there, and we need just to keep looking. And with that, I want to thank you guys for, listening to me talk for a little bit about extraterrestrial life and how we could find it and what do we do about it. And is there a way I can help out with, looking for intelligent life? And you could do, of course, the SETI at home thing, which is really cool. I actually do that a little bit from time to time.